Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am going to do a video a little bit off topic today. First off, forgive me for the shaking in my voice. I'm driving right now, and when I've got a car on the back, it makes for a bumpy ride sometimes, so that's why I sound like I'm bouncing up and down. Anyway, as you can see in the title, I'm going to talk about the Scott Peterson case, because that is a case that honestly I have followed since the beginning. It was about a month after Lacey went missing, I got involved in the case and stayed pretty steadily involved in it ever since. There's nothing I haven't seen. There's not a show I haven't watched. There's not a documentary I haven't watched. I've followed it all. And from the beginning and from day one, I have maintained that in the eyes of the law, Scott is an innocent man. And when I say that, people think, I should say people used to think I was fucking crazy. I was out of my mind. And when I explained to them why, still they usually disagreed with me, but it was because of the way he was portrayed, the way that he was put out there. When the trial began, I know enough about murder and enough about missing persons cases and the way that the law looks at them and the way that prosecutors try those cases to know pretty much. You can never guess what a jury's going to do, but I can tell you right away, before opening arguments even start, if I think that they've got a pretty solid chance of an acquittal, or if it's just not going to happen, they're going to be convicted. And to be completely honest, again, you never know what the jury's going to do. I was sure Scott would be acquitted. I will be the first person to admit the evidence against him is pretty damning as far as circumstantial evidence goes. The fact that the body's washed up in the bay, the fact that he was lying pretty regularly to everybody around the time that this happened, and the affair with Amber Fry, that is why Scott was convicted, was because of his affair. That I maintain that from the beginning. Because he had an affair, he was found guilty of murder. Now, when you take a case to trial and you have zero physical evidence, I feel right off the bat the defense has a pretty solid chance of getting an acquittal. Especially when you go and do it. When you go into a courtroom with a lawyer like Mark Dragas, I think the dude is a fucking genius as far as criminal defense attorneys go. And I think he did an excellent job of representing Scott. I feel the jury, in the immediate beginning, they knew they were convicting. As soon as they found out they were sitting on the Scott Peterson jury, they were convicting him. And there are multiple interviews since the trial have showed that. I'm going to go ahead and apologize right now. This video is probably shaky as hell. But, hey, it's really just me talking, so look away and just hear my voice. Back to it. But anyway, when I explain to people that it all comes down to reasonable doubt, and the fact that I've never been big on eyewitness statements. I'm more of a physical evidence kind of guy. I go by science, and people see shit that they want to see. People remember things differently. It doesn't matter if it happened 5 minutes ago. They remember it the way that they want to remember it. And the multiple eyewitness accounts that say they saw Lacey the morning of December 24th, 2001, some of them were lying, I'm sure. Some of them probably didn't see anybody that morning matching that description. They just wanted to inject themselves into the case, and that's what they did. And because of that, the credibility of the other people that claim they saw her at the same time went right out the window. She can't be two places at once, so they all ruled each other out. Totally understandable. But Scott's actions that morning were not the actions of a man that just killed his wife. I mean, if you haven't seen this documentary, I totally recommend watching it. A&E's doing a new one right now. It's going on right now. Totally watch it. If you are one of the people in this world that totally stand by the fact that Scott is a guilty man and he is in where he belongs, and you're just waiting for the day they stick that needle in his arm, you owe it to yourself and to the case to watch that documentary. I had made a post just a few weeks ago on Facebook that I was really happy that it actually looks like he's going to get a new trial. To me, in my opinion, I feel he will be getting a new trial. And I've always said I never really thought he would be acquitted. He would never really be released from jail. I did feel, and still do strongly feel, he'll never be put to death. They will overturn his death conviction eventually. But a few people, and it's kind of funny because most of the people I talk to on this matter, it's all girls. Guys, it's kind of weird. I have the same interest as a lot of females as far as murder trials, missing persons cases. I mean, it's two of my big hobbies. But a friend of mine had posted, "You're crazy. You're totally out of your mind if you think Scott's innocent. He definitely killed her. You're crazy. You're out of your mind." Well, this was a few weeks ago, and just last night, my brother actually had made a comment because he had been watching the documentary, and he had never really known anything about the case. He knew I was, into it pretty big, for the last, 16 years, 15 plus years, and he had made a post, and he said that he thought I was right. After watching this documentary, he felt like I was right, and that he feels he's innocent as well. And the same girl that just a few weeks ago said I was crazy had watched this same documentary and said I was totally wrong, and I totally agree with you now. My opinion has changed, and I feel he's innocent as well now. And to me, that just shows there's actually some hope, because from the beginning I've said it. It's totally possible he did it. It's totally possible he killed her. But there is reasonable doubt. And as a juror, if you have reasonable doubt, you are supposed to acquit, period. I've asked the question so many times, what's worse? A guilty man being set free, or an innocent man going to prison? An innocent man being condemned to death row. That's even worse. So, I guess my point of this is, if you haven't watched that documentary yet, and you are one of the people that stand by the fact that he is where he belongs, watch it. The media portrayed him in such a horrible light, and understandably, the time when that happened, not that it's really acceptable today, but cheating on your wife was a lot worse, I would say, back then. Now it's kind of, not that people don't think it's bad, it's just to be expected. Everybody cheats. Nobody stays faithful anymore, and that's just the world we're living in. But yeah, check that documentary out if you haven't watched it yet, and just go into it with an open mind. Please, just go into it with an open mind. And by the time it's done, I have a good feeling you will agree with me that while it might look bad for him, there's definitely reasonable doubt. There was more things that could have happened that morning than him killing his wife. So, I've supported him for a long time, and the media made him look like a monster, and I never really saw him as a monster. I saw him as a very unlucky person, and I can only imagine what it would be like to lose your wife, your unborn son, and then be convicted of a murder if you were an innocent man. I mean, that would just be hell. So, check it out. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear some opinions on it and actually discuss it with people. And I'll tell you right now, if you're going to comment that I'm, an idiot, I'm stupid, and I'm wrong, and all that, just save it. If you want to actually discuss it and debate about it, I'd be more than happy to. I can guarantee you that I know this case inside and out. I'm not going to say better than anybody, but better than a lot of people. So I would love to discuss it with people if they come into it wanting to discuss it, not just talk shit. So, all right, thanks for watching, and take it easy.